We got a dealer that's not happy with y'all cats, so we gon' hold the vendor feet to the fire for that ROI. We gon' see if you lie. We naming names, dog. We ain't scared of nobody. And we ain't playing, y'all. Something gotta change, y'all. Gone are the days that you said you provide us with VDPs and SRPs, man. We need real life customer connections, cause everything else, it ain't BS, just extra. Let me tell you dudes what we do to protect us. Shoot at you vendors like movie directors. It's just a podcast though.
All right, everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, and I'm on here with a friend of mine. His name is Brandon Sloan. Brandon is the general manager and partner in Auto Direct in North Carolina. Sir, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. It's a great day. End of the month, close it out strong. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, no doubt. And so what I want to just kind of bring out here to the community, you know what I mean, in the Millionaire Car Salesman group, all the dealer principals and general managers and automotive professionals, is that yesterday I posted a video that I was a little bit hot about, and I was talking about Auto Trader and car gurus, you know what I mean? And now today we just had a situation with Carfax. And I'm having you here partially as a witness, because I know that I'm going to be the evil, big, bad person. Sean's a dick and blah, 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 whatever. And I'm really not. I'm a dealer's advocate. I'm here to help you. You're my client. So Brandon, true or false, you asked me to help you review all your lead source providers and your vendors to be able to see which ones are viable or not. True or false?
That's very true.
Okay. And then, did I not say to you from the very beginning of the relationship with Dealer Synergy is that I do not ever want to destabilize any vendor? I'm not a fan of Car Gurus, Auto Trader, but if they're doing well for you, I don't want to remove them. Is that also true?
Yeah, that's very true. Every conversation
good.
we've had, it's been part of the conversation with the vendor. That's not the intent of this conversation.
Exactly. So again, I want everybody to understand this is a general manager and partner of a dealership. And Brandon, you're always very proud of saying that you run your dealership like a new car dealership, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
You just don't have the tag.
Exactly. And so before we get into the whole conversation with these vendors, I want to also bring up the fact that we had this conversation because you're an independent. Unfortunately, you get treated, and I agree with you because you even said it, like the bastard, child for all these vendors. The vendors you see, that you perceive, they don't see you as equal because you don't have a franchise shingle. Can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of feel that way, like we always are the one with the black eye, right? As when it comes to these classifieds or any of these third party listing vendors, that they treat the independent as a whole different than they treat the franchise store. It's like if you've got a bow tie or if you've got an oval circled around your name, that all of a sudden you're better and you do things better than the independent down the road. Which I ran new car stores for a long time. The way we run and operate, we run just a cleaner ship than a new car store does. We actually provide more opportunities for the consumer to purchase an automobile because we don't have all these handcuffs and red tape and strings attached. We have some flexibility with our inventory. Our cars aren't being packed to death. We're not being sold out to just utilizing one particular source for all the financing. Now, obviously, we like certain sources, but we like every customer. I'll say the 400 Beacon contract cash is just as good as the 800 Beacon contract cashes. Plus, the fact of the matter is that 400 Beacon is going to send us 4 or 5 customers in return, whereas the 800 Beacon, although they're a great customer, we may get 1 or 2 out of them. I always feel like we kind of, when it comes to the classifieds with the listings, that we're just always shunned, man. Like we're just not like we're not as good or something. They bury us.
And it's a shame because, to me, I think this is prejudice. You're being prejudiced. Again, I'm not trying to be funny or minimize, racism. I didn't say racist. I said prejudice. And I think that some people, you're exactly right, they don't perceive independent dealerships to be real dealerships or as valuable as franchise dealerships, which is utterly absurd because there are so many, follow me on this, guys, there's so many independent dealerships like yours that have integrity, class, and are highly successful. They're very amazing. And then on the flip side, there's some so-called quote unquote franchise dealerships that suck you know what I mean, that are not doing really well in any way, shape, or form. There's even highline dealerships that have negative reputations that are underperforming. It happens every day in our industry that the franchises, pull their franchises from underperforming and unethical dealers. So I think it's absurd that this is even a thing. Now that we set the stage, let's get into what craziness just happened this morning. So guys, it's the end of the month. We had a meeting set up with Carfax, and we were very polite, and it's all recorded. Again, we had a meeting with Carfax, and then we asked the simple question, hey, how do you think, Brandon's dealership Auto Direct is doing on your program, in this month? And he said, I can tell you the last 30 days. I said, okay, perfect. Well, Brandon, you spent $999, a month for the service. The guy said that you had two phone calls and 11 emails on their used car listing program. And all I did was take $999, divide that by 13, and that gives me a price of $76.8 per lead. So that's pretty much $77 per lead. And I asked the guy, I said, sir, just before we're getting further, I'm not worried about the sales. I just want to know, what do you think about the $77 per lead? And then the guy, instead of just, acknowledging, he tried to deflect and go through, well, this and that. Can you speak about that? Because I want the audience to hear from you.
So then it become about the VDPs and the map views and this, that, and the other. And then want to go through about the whole package and start the explanation of what the package that would, going into the sales pitch side of things, versus just actually talking about how the fact that we were spending the money and we got 11 leads, and that sucks. That's a lot of money for 11 leads. Versus acknowledging that, I don't care, and that's what I said. I mean, even I commented yesterday on your post yesterday. I don't care about the VDPs, the SRIPs, the rest of the alphabet that they want to bring into the equation. Right? We don't care about that as a dealer. Here's what we care about. We need tangible leads. And like I tell these third-party advertising sources, I ultimately, at the delivery side of things, right? How many we actually sell off of it? Because that's not their fault, right? If they're providing us the leads and they're providing us those opportunities, it's up to my team and us as a unit to then turn those opportunities into delivered units. So as long as the lead count's there, we're golden, we're good, okay? Then we'll interject our process and we'll take it to the finish line. But I'm paying for the opportunity, and we're not even getting the opportunity. We need more than 11, And then here's the other side that they always kick on. Man, it drives me insane, right? So the first thing they always go to, right? They go to, well, you need to get more photos of your car up faster, dude. As soon as our cars are getting photos like instantly, right? I mean, there may be like maybe a 24-hour lapse, but that's only because something had to process through and it had to get across these systems, okay? But we're instantly injecting photos, right? What's the next thing they love to say? Oh, you're pricing. Man, miss me with the pricing, okay? We price our cars aggressively to market, okay? We build value. And we provide value to our consumer, okay? Maybe everybody else around us should raise their prices, right? Sean and I, before we came on the meeting, we were having a conversation about there's a new car franchise dealership that we could literally hit a golf ball to, right, Sean?
Yes.
Right? And every morning on the way to work, my desk manager passes this dealership on the way in, okay? And he's had a Nissan Altima parked up there, late model, probably 21, 22, right? We sell a bunch of them, okay? And it's been parked up there for like the past 10 days. And this morning when I come in, he said, when I come by that car, he said, thought to myself, that car's been sitting there for 10 days. And I think we've sold 15 since I've seen that car parked there. So price is irrelevant in the fact of, I don't care what they have that car priced at. They haven't done a good job in that dealership somewhere. And I don't know anything about their operations. I'm not picking on them. I'm just saying that I see that exact same car that we've delivered 15 of. And we've done that because our team has built value. They've built value to the consumer to get the consumer in here and show them why that's a vehicle that makes sense to the consumer when they get here. And that's got absolutely nothing to do with price.
No, 1,000%, my brother. And here's the thing is that when we try to, as the dealer, utilize the rep for field intelligence and for help, let's talk about that. One of the things I was really disappointed in the Carfax rep this morning was that it's almost like when we bring the attention, the analogy I gave you is that I'm not impressed, if I'm paying for protection, right? If I'm paying for like the fire department, for example, if I was a paid firefighter, service, follow my stupid analogy here, and then they show up after my house is burnt down, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't really help me or make me feel good. If you have an account rep and you're spending $1,000 a month, for 12 months, and they don't ever turn around and are proactive saying, hey, Brandon, I see that you're not generating enough leads, or we're not generating enough leads. Let's try to dig in. Let's try to figure this out. It's only when we ask for an account review do they even pay attention to what's going on. And then instead of, problem solving or whatever, they want to make excuses or they want to deflect. So question for you, this Carfax, rep or company, how many times in the last year has they been proactive to you to discuss, your account, if they feel it's doing good, and if so, why? Or if they don't feel that it's not doing good, if so, why? And try to problem solve it. Has they ever been a consultant or advocate for you?
No, we hadn't really. That's been pretty ghost, across the board from all these third parties. Even when we first linked up, me trying to scavenge to figure out who the reps even were. There was a handful of times I really had to dig down the rabbit hole. We were just discussing that particular rep in particular because at one of our old locations back when we were leasing properties before we were able to purchase this facility we're in now, he would come by quite often. Right. But then it's like, okay, where's this dude been? We hadn't seen him in multi years. I understand you had the COVID and stuff like that, but still, look, y'all see?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Call. Let's talk about it. We're doing a Zoom meeting right now. Sean, where are you at? You're in Jersey right now, right? Yeah. I'm in North Carolina. So that's not a viable excuse. We can maintain that contact. We can look at, and let's see, what can we do better? You're good with just taking my money and you're cool with that, right? And look, I get it. That's what I try to do too, right? I wake up every morning trying to get money. But let's try to figure out how to be successful in that process together as a partner. If we're going to partner up as a dealer and you're going to be my classified, my third party, ultimately at the end of the day, while they don't treat themselves as a lead source provider, that's what they are. That's what they should be. They should be providing those opportunities to help folks in the industry purchase automobiles. And then I get frustrated with the whole standpoint of, when you start getting into pricing, and I always say, you got dealer A and dealer B, and dealer A has the clean, the one owner Carfax. It was a grade 5 car. If you take and do a CR on it, the MMR, it's a grade 5 car, and it's been to the shop and it's had brakes and tires, and when you go, there's no apologies for this car, right? And then you got dealer B, who they use super glue and bubble gum to hold the front fender on, right? And it's got multi-accident Carfax. The tires are bald. No brakes, no real maintenance done on the vehicle, right? But then you go on to some of these sites, and they're a good deal. Dealer B is a good deal, and dealer A is a fair deal.
Right.
Well, that's not the fact, right? Really, dealer A is the better deal for the consumer, right? If they bought from dealer B, they're potentially buying a lot of problems. So it doesn't factor that in either, and that's always super frustrating from my standpoint. That no two used cars are the same. Hey, look at all these books, right? We all use Kelly Blue Book, we all use JD, right? JD Power now used to be the NADA. We use Black Book, right? Some people probably use Edmunds, but for us in the Southeast, those are the three main ones, right?
Galveston, New Jersey. We use Galveston, New Jersey.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so but here's the fact of the matter is none of those three books are great. Right? We could do a trade appraisal on each and regardless, right? And none of those books even agree there. So how are they rating how our vehicle, if it's a good deal, fair deal in the marketplace or not?
That's one of the age-old problems is the algorithm. 100%, it's not giving the most accurate information to the public. It's the best that they could do based on the algorithms. Let me go back to the reps, because when we had these conversations with all these vendors, one of the things that I had brought up to you was one of the things that I like about these reps is, if you think about it, including Carfax, Auto Trader, CarGurus, all of them, because they're so big and because they have so many dealers, they have access to field intelligence. And what the rep should be doing is giving you the field intelligence. So this is a pro tip to everybody listening here. Your rep should be proactively saying stuff like this. If I was the Carfax rep or the Auto Trade rep, I'd be like, hey, Brandon, listen, I don't know if you realize this, but we have access to the best field intelligence. I could tell you off of our website that gets millions and millions of unique visitors a month, which is the most requested vehicle. Okay, not only the most requested vehicle in your area and nationally, but which vehicles actually get bought the most. Okay, so there's a difference of most requested versus actual purchased. I could show you both of those, both locally and nationally. I could tell you this, I could tell you that. So I believe that reps are empowered with so much good field intelligence. Has any of your reps, before I asked them to do this, ever given you that field intelligence?
No, and that's great information to know. Absolutely great information.
And it's worse. Tell everybody, when we asked for it and they said they were going to send it, how many of them actually sent it, within the first week after they committed to sending you this information?
Yes, I think two. We were talking about, I think two of them, out of multi vendors. It was two. So you're probably maybe 20%.
And so again, listen, folks, for the people that are just chiming in here, I want to repeat, I actually love lead source providers. I actually love vendors. I've written articles that say, before you cancel your lead source provider, make sure it's you that you got straight, because most of the reasons why lead source providers and online classifieds are not successful in the sales aspect of things is because of the dealer. No disrespect. And you even took ownership before, when you said that it wasn't the sales that we're evaluating. It's because dealers don't have enough people. They don't have, the right people. They don't have the right training, the right process, the right CRM protocols and templates and automation and action plus. They don't have all that stuff. So to blame any of those vendors for lack of sales before you turn around and check all those check boxes internally is not fair. So I want to be clear. The post that I did the other day and this post right here has nothing to do about ROI from sales. We're talking about the actual fair cost to generate a lead. We're talking about what is the cost per lead, the cost per acquisition for that opportunity. In this situation this morning, we evaluated that Carfax spending $999 to generate only 13 leads is $77 per lead. It's really simple. You're either pregnant or not pregnant. You either could look a grown man in the face and say, look, that is a fair price to pay for a lead, or it's not. And instead of just owning up to it and saying, hey, let's fix it, it's like Scooby-Dooby-Doo deflection and excuse, factory. What would you like vendors to be able to do in your world? Let's reverse engineer this, right? Like before I got married, it's my second marriage. I've been with my current wife for 15 years, but I was married before. And I said, I'm never going to get married ever again. But if I did, I had minimum expectations. I wanted, somebody that was going to be brilliant, beautiful, kind. Somebody's going to be great for my daughter at the time, as a stepmom, yada, yada, yada. And so I had I had a whole minimum expectations if I was ever to think about that. So let's go through this here, because I'm not saying all vendors are bad. But if I was going to ask you, Brandon, let's just try to create the ultimate vendor relationship. What do you, as a general manager and part owner of your organization, what would be the ideal vendor rep for you? What would you like that to be?
Well, obviously, I think communication is key there. I think, getting us that real-time field intelligence in front of us, that we can get it in our buyers' hands, is super important. Get that in our reps' hands, get that in our management team's hands. Knowing what's being searched for and the cars that are being delivered in the area, that's super good information. You could really build a lot on that. I'm always a fan of the pay-per lead, right? I always like that because I think it holds the vendor super accountable. We're paying for what we get. Provide me with the opportunity. Once we get the opportunity in hand, it's our job to get the ball to the end zone. But I think that the biggest thing for a rep is to get us information and to make sure that we're on track, make sure that we're doing what needs to be done, and that our listings are being active, and that we're showing up. Nobody wants to be buried at the bottom, right? We can't all be at the top. Then it's pay, right? So it's you got to find that trade-off, right? We want to have the best inventory in the marketplace. We want to be priced aggressively, right? We don't want to be priced, $5,000 over market, right? You want to be priced aggressively within the marketplace, but you also want your listing seen. We also will need our inventory seen. And then we do need that feedback as well to say, hey, maybe we are buying the wrong cars, or maybe you need to sprinkle in some of these cars, right? Or maybe this particular car right here, we could justify why this particular car, because they're so hard to find, the scarcity or the rareness behind this automobile, you can justify that you're priced a little more. Or they've been in and they could see the car's like super immaculate clean. You can justify paying a little more for the car, right? Just bought my wife a car. I justified paying a little bit more for my wife a car because it was super clean, right? Yeah, I could have bought one a little cheaper, but this one was in the wrapper. It's worth a little more, But yeah, that would be my thing. It's just, that communication, man. It's just getting us information and helping.
I want to be clear. I want to say this because I'm sure you're going to agree with me. You're a general manager. You're busy as hell. So you don't need any vendor to wipe your butt. And we're not looking for these vendors to be calling us on a daily or weekly basis. I know that's unrealistic. And I know that a dealer principal or GM or high level manager doesn't want any rep to call them all the time because they're freaking busy doing, big boy, big girl things. We're just saying, even if it's just on a monthly basis, you know what I mean? That you just check in but it's not a bullshit like PR call or like, hey, you're not going to cancel, right? Okay, good. No, it's going to be like, hey, if we're going to have a phone call once a month, let's have an agenda and we're going to go through, okay, what were the goals for this month and where did we end up? And then why, what happened? But let's just be honest about it. Because at the end of the day, it either is going to be because of the vendor or because of the dealer or a combination. I mean, that's it. It's not that complicated. So if it is a vendor's fault or situation for whatever reason, then look, we're not saying that you have to get canceled. And we've had that exact conversation with all these people. We're just saying, let's just acknowledge it, not just pretend that shit tastes like fucking, like ice cream. You know what I mean? If it's shit, then let's acknowledge it and then figure out what happened, make some tweaks, maybe make it right. You know what I mean? And then let's move forward. At the end of the day, dealers need these vendors. I'm not saying any particular vendor, but they need vendor partners because dealers are not experts at lead generation, at marketing, and at visibility. So we really do need these people, but we need ones that are going to be fair, that are going to be transparent, that are going to be consistent, and that provide value. You said it before. That's how you sell cars. You know what I mean? Again, sometimes these vendors, where they just try to play the volume game, we sell as much product as we can, and whoever stays, whoever turns, and then it's a vicious cycle. Instead of that, how about sell value? Brandon, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's great. And, we had one vendor in particular that sent us a video as a follow-up, and I thought that was great, man. That was excellent. The dude took the time to go through the numbers and stuff. And, you and I were able to watch it at our own leisure. If we had any additional questions, we could reply.
Which vendor was that? Which vendor was that?
That was actually Car Gurus.
Car Gurus. Listen, yeah. and everybody knows I'm critical of Car Gurus, but look, I'm showing you my integrity. Congrats and respect to that rep from Car Gurus. You know what I mean? Like I told you, my personal feelings or something has nothing to do with it. But if even Car Gurus, that rep did the right thing. You heard from the GM just out of his mouth saying that impressed him, that he took the time to respond with communication with video. Now, again, if Car Gurus could do it, I'm just joking here, then anybody could do it. But, sorry, not sorry. But you know what I'm saying? Brandon, it's the end of the month, literally the end of the month. So I don't want to drag this out. I just want to also stress, because you made a comment before, I want to clarify it because I am sure I'm about to get some heat in October from all these vendors. You know what I mean? And I'm ready for it. I'm bulletproof. It is what it is. You said that you don't give a shit about, VDPs, SRPs, hits, and views. And I second that motion, you know what I mean? But I want to clarify. And I used this analogy the other day. And I don't know if you saw the whole video because I was on a tangent. As I say, look, the perfect analogy that I have is Maslow. That's super famous. We learn about that in school. All of us do, about the hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is like a pyramid. Okay. And then it's supposed to be what is the most important to a human being. For example, oxygen. We can't live, you know what I mean, very long if we can't breathe and have oxygen. We can't survive so long without food or water. But on that hierarchy of needs is something called self-actualization, like feeling accepted and loved. Now, Obviously, if self-actualization, feeling loved and appreciated, is really, really important to a human being, I'm not discounting that. So I am not discounting that there is value with VDPs or SRPs, but don't turn around and supersede and tell me that having somebody, love you and like you is more important than oxygen, because you're freaking delusional. Just like you can't turn around and tell me or tell you as a general manager, dealer principal, that that VDPs or SRPs are more important than they're more important than actual email leads or phone up leads. And so what we're trying to say is, look, the reality is that I get it. We need SRPs and VDPs and shit like that in order to get phone ups and to get email leads. But if they're not translating, what I feel is these vendors are trying to, use that as a rebuttal. And apparently it's working all across the land, because people are like eating it like it's fucking Tic Tacs. Oh, SRPs, VDPs, that's great. Well, what the fuck are you doing with SRPs or VDPs? If your website, first of all, sucks, if you have, unfortunately, an OEM compliant website, or you've got a website that is also owned by 3,000, 4,000 other car dealerships, that website might have high bounce rates. That website might have low time on site. And your website might have cookie cutter, antiquated, content, etc. If your website isn't a conversion beast, it honestly is completely irrelevant if you have all those VDPs and SRPs. See what I'm saying? So Brandon, can you speak about that? Do you agree with what I'm saying? And because I want to make sure that people in the bleachers understand what we're talking about, because these reps are going in there and they're basically, that's their rebuttal. That's their ninja rebuttal is, oh, we got SRPs and VDPs. Explain to you why that's not as important as an actionable lead.
Yeah. So, what you're going back to is there again too, is your website even sticky, right? And that's one of the things we've been digging down that rabbit hole on our side. Once somebody gets to our site, how long do they stay glued to our site? I'm with you too. I mean, do they matter on some level? Of course they do. But there again, it's about generating that lead. What is the call to action? We have to get that call to action. We have to get some way to get that customer's contact information. And that's where the third-party vendors, if they're providing this value, that's what they're going to be doing, then that's what they need to do. They need to provide that service to us. That's ultimately the end game isn't necessarily to bounce them from their classified to us, right? The end game should be, if they're on their classified, they should retain that customer's information at that point and get that information to us versus just kicking that information. Otherwise, why do we need them, right? Shouldn't we be investing more in our website and getting our information up? You start looking at Google Analytics and stuff and start delving down them rabbit holes, start looking at your keywords that are most searched for your particular store. And that's pretty eye-opening in itself. I was just digging into that last night. And that's something to definitely be aware of.
Listen, you just touched something I wasn't even going to go into, because that's a whole nother podcast and view. But you're right, man. Think about this for a second. And here's the crazy part. And so everybody knows, used car lead generation is 100% based on inventory. They're inventory-based listings. So the key to used car success, theoretically, is to have your used car inventory feed syndicated everywhere. The more places that you could syndicate, whether it's TrueCar, Cars.com, AutoTrader, etc., theoretically, that's how you generate leads. It's different. So for example, if you were a franchise Nissan dealership, right? It has nothing to do with that particular inventory to be able, strike that. Not that it's not necessary to have an inventory-based new car. Sometimes you could generate leads off of them, so I want to stand corrected. But my point is that you could just have people that want to buy an Ultima, okay? And so people are going to all these new car sites and they're turning around and they're scoping out a theoretical car, etc. The difference with you as an independent dealership is that you're getting leads on your own inventory. So think about this. You are paying these people to take your inventory and put it onto their website or their affiliate programs, or them to market and highlight, or whatever they're doing to these things, right? To generate opportunities. But it's your inventory. It's your actual asset. So it's crazy to me that they don't understand that and respect that. Without your inventory, none of these classified companies would be even valuable, because it's our inventory that generates the leads and keeps them relevant. So listen, brother, It's the end of the month. I appreciate you taking time. I sincerely hope that, this cleared up some things for some people. And I hope that managers and owners that are listening, no, you're not crazy. And no, you're not alone. I have thousands and thousands of active car dealership clients that are on our program. And there's such a majority of dealers that are being affected this way. And it doesn't just go for you. I've got Highline stores. I've got volume stores. I've got billion-dollar dealer groups that go through this. And here's the challenge now, though. And I mentioned this yesterday. I want to close on this. The challenge is that dealers, they're like, I'm only spending $1,000, on this. And I basically, if I sold one car with my grosses, Brandon, if you sold one car off of Carfax, theoretically, now it might be hard with only 13 leads, but if you sold one car and you made, and I'm not averaging your grosses, I'm making something up, but if you made $5,000 on one car, it's like, you know what? I put a G out, I got 5, I netted 4, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem is it's not fiscally responsible. That's what I'm saying. I see there's an ROI, but I could do the same thing. If I could get a lead source provider, whether it's AutoWeb or it's Cars Direct or it's another lead source provider that could only charge me $12 or $14 or $16 per lead, why the hell am I going to spend $77, for a lead that has the same closing ratio? Thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. I'm a big advocate of work smarter, not harder, right? So I also can make the argument that if we got 13 leads in and we sold 7 of them, right, that bam, you're better than 50% closing ratio. Hey, I'm good with that, right? That makes sense. That's working smarter, not harder. I certainly would go down with that's a huge factor. Look at the return on the investment. Figure out, what are you getting ultimately when you deliver? But are your processes in place? So if you're getting 200 leads a month, are your processes in place to know that your team are fielding those incoming sales calls correctly, that your team are responding to the email correctly, that they're setting the appointments, that when the appointment shows up, that the vehicle's being pulled up, that the customer's being welcomed, that we're putting our best foot forward and we're putting that delivery process in place once the consumer gets there. I think you look at it as a whole, and we do it. We've been doing it and we've been working through it as well, but looking at it as a whole to see truly what your return on investment is at the end of the day is super important as well.
Well, listen, Brandon, thank you so much again for taking time. I know it's the end of the month, you're busy, but you love this industry like I do. And we're just trying to help other dealers, trying to work through this stuff. And again, I want to be clear, this is not any anti-vendor stuff, but we need to hold these vendors accountable to turn around and generate what we're paying for. All right, everybody, I'm out.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by AutoWeb. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.